Did you know that the Proverbs 31 woman actually existed? I hear a lot of talk about how she didn't exist and it's just a poem, but she did exist. The Proverbs 31 woman, the virtuous wife or the virtuous woman or the noble woman in some translations, actually comes from the Hebrew phrase Eshet Chayil. Now this word Chayil is found over 200 times in the Bible, and it basically means valor, wealth, virtue, or worth, or value. And the one place we see this exact phrase, Eshet Chayil, mentioned is in Ruth chapter 3, verse 11. And isn't it amazing how Ruth 3:11, the numbers 31 is already in that verse? That verse in Ruth chapter 3 verse 11 was Boaz telling Ruth that she was a woman of noble character. Already, that word virtuous that we see in the beginning of Proverbs 31 actually means so much more. It actually means valor. You might think, well, how was Ruth a woman of valor? How was she a woman of wealth? How was she, a woman of virtue? I mean, we all know that she was a woman of virtue. That's probably one of the easiest ways to identify the Proverbs 31 woman in Ruth. But when you really study the book of Ruth, she came from a family and a people who served other gods. It would have taken so much courage for somebody who had lost everything. She lost her husband. She was a widow, and yet still she chose to follow the God of her mother-in-law. That would have taken so much courage, so much faith, so much obedience at a time when Ruth was living. Now, the wealth aspect of Ruth, you see that because of her diligence, and we see a lot of how the Proverbs 31 woman was diligent, she was hardworking. We see that in Ruth, she labored, she worked in the field, and because of her hard work, she always had enough. She even had enough to now provide for her mother-in-law. She reaches her hand out to the needy. Proverbs 31. She was wealthy because she was faithful, because she was loyal, because she was diligent in her work. That's where we see the wealth aspect of Ruth, a Chayil woman. And what's so amazing is that we see Boaz, who was well respected in his community, come to redeem her, come to save her. They get married and she becomes part of Jesus's lineage. Now what's so amazing is that these two people, Ruth and Boaz, when they came together, they were part of God's plan, redemption plan. And it is a perfect example in these end times of what God is looking for in a woman and in a man. And when they come together in covenant, they are able to build the kingdom, to fulfill God's agenda. And that is why even today, the Proverbs 31 woman is so much talked about, is so much studied. And so if you never knew that Ruth was the Proverbs 31 woman, now you do. I'm Eshet Chayil, and if you want to join a community of women where we gather to pray at every watch hour, contending for our families, our communities, our nations, and really fulfill purpose and destiny, then I'd like to invite you to join God's Chayil Daughters. Send me a DM and I'll send you the link to join.